We gathered here in Sarajevo, European Jerusalem, just to use the name given to us by Pope Francis visiting us a few weeks ago, defining and showing decisive and clear commitment for our common mission to introduce, support, promote and implement the concept of shared society and shared values that can be shared globally, regionally and within the individual societies, starting today from Bosnia and Herzegovina and being ready to be present tomorrow anywhere it is needed. The Shared Society Project, Democratic Leadership for Dialogue, Diversity, Social Inclusion, or to be more precise, Building a World Safe for Difference, is so far almost 10 years long process, driven by Club de Madrid as one of our flagship projects, and we have our Chief Coordinator, Clem McCarthy, here with us today. Foundation Shared Society and Values Sarajevo is an effort to create just one small piece of a great mosaic of forces that believe in an idea that this city, and I want to thank the mayor for this country, and I will thank to the President of the Presidency who is going to be with us on the closing session, as well as the region. And when we talk about region, I mean when we see President Mesic and President Tadic, I mean it's more than self-evident that we are in a region. And broader Europe. When I say broader Europe, I'm not talking only about original Europe, with George here, and about real Europe, with Alexander here, but I'm talking about broader Europe, which is much bigger than today's European Union. And we all have to show by example that we have learned something from our history. Today, the values behind United in Diversity motto are not only the last line of defense for better and more prosperous Europe as a whole, and for its constituencies, individual countries and nations as well. The new world order that we are globally searching for, and George is just leaving to one of those new world order exercises this afternoon, is not yet defined, but one of the things is unquestionable. Shared societies and values will be inevitable part of it, or there will be simply no order. Why Club de Madrid works so much on shared society and why we need it in this part of the world so much. Communities are becoming more and more intertwined and intercultural. When we started this project, and it is going more and more than 90% of the world's countries have at least 10% people who consider themselves as some kind of minority along some ethnic, racial, religious, or whatever line. Leaders are facing the challenge of building and maintaining social cohesion in their diversified communities and countries. How they respond to social cohesion differs from the leader to leader, from the country to country, but one element remains true for all. They all need knowledge, options, and tools to address this challenge. 10 commitments that were brought, let's say, delivered or given to you, that can be found on our website, made by Club de Madrid, are very defined for shared societies, defined and promoted those 10 commitments that we defined and did just a few years ago. And Club de Madrid is intending to serve as a checklist with that 10 commitments to review policy areas in which state has made progress or where more work has to be done. This remains a good initial roadmap for our activities, as well as for any part of the world which shares our goals locally, regionally, and globally. So as you heard, today we are discussing, and as you saw in the materials that we distributed, we are discussing and hoping to get some guidelines and recommendations for future work in 3 areas of our research: action-oriented promotion, policy recommendations, capacity building, and legislative reforms that are contributing to bigger or for bigger social, economic, and democratic inclusion and prosperity. I want to thank our panelists, first of all. I want to thank the speakers and panelists who are covering broad, relevant cross-section of stakeholders in 3 areas. We call it 3 big E. Enlargement, and this first one is maybe comme ci, comme ça about enlargement. Education, with our prominent speakers here who are sitting with us, and of course, economy. We consider that to be among the key elements for transformation in institutional processes to share society and values. So today's forum we want to use as an input for our 3E projects that are primarily oriented to capacity building, not only in this country, not only in this region, but everything that we can be part of and be part of the network that we were discussing even on a working level yesterday. Putting together a new generation or new generations of young leaders, researchers and practitioners with the state-of-the-art knowledge and experience about shared society and values. First, of course, in Sarajevo, and then any place needed or welcomed. Presidents, prime ministers, Club de Madrid members and experts, World Academy of Art and Science fellows, academic and expert leaders from prominent think tanks and organizations like Centennial Fund, Bertelsmann Foundation, OECD Development Center, Nizami Foundation, Regional Cooperation Council, as well as our local international heads of, we call them local international heads of Council of Europe and European Union, followed by young and prosperous representatives of our academic and business community who are here with us. And all of us think that today they will be as speakers, hopefully be provoking all of us to think more and to participate in the process we are launching today. Of course, I'm thanking the Mayor of Sarajevo again, and I'm thanking in advance to President of Presidency who will join us on a closing session and who will host our delegation in here today in the Presidency, who are not only our guests and hosts, but also being contributors to the idea of shared societies and values in this city, country, and region. I was teasing and saying that we have a mayor and president of the presidency who will deliver a speech that will not be written by their advisors. And that's what's self-evident from what Mayor Komšić was talking. Our first presidential session is about the enlargement and transformative role of the EU-NATO process as a tool for institution building and shared society and values. Some people are saying that enlargement is on hold today. We are afraid in the region that it is. Maybe not as a process as much as a perception of current policies, which may not be less dangerous in reality. At the same time, there is almost consensus that enlargement is the biggest security, economic, and political success of the European Union. Enlargement happens to be a major European created healing mechanism, tool, or medicine. First, it healed the wounds of World War II in between Germany and France, and then it healed the wounds of Cold War, which Alex was living on the borders of those worlds. What remains is to heal the wounds of former Yugoslavia, wars that are still opened ones. Here we have the best team of leaders who were either among great creators of enlargement process, like Prime Minister Papandreou, or grand transformers of enlargement of their countries, like President Kwaśniewski, all the way from the beginning to the end, from really beginning to the very end, and being today one of the most leading countries of the European Union. And of course, two prominent reformers on a path to regional cooperation that established much better regional dynamic in here at this part of the world, and regional cooperation and EU path, President Mesić and President Tadić. 20 years after Srebrenica genocide and Dayton Peace Accord, war of civilization promoters are on rise again, this time through violent extremism as a tool for segregated, radical, and exclusive societies. And that is why we have to show our commitment and determination for shared, tolerant, and inclusive societies as an ultimate shelter against false prophets, which are actually promoting the war against civilization. We don't belong to a group of people who think that they are civilizations. We think that there is civilization and there's something which is not deserving that name. Violent extremism starts where shared societies and values stops, and vice versa. Where shared society and values start, violent extremism stops. Bosnia and Herzegovina and this region, as well as Europe and the world, simply have no alternative to shared society and values. Or to be more persuasive, I will quote our role model who was promoting this project very much, our member of honorary chairman of Club de Madrid, who you saw on this tape, President Clinton, who just said we really have no another alternative. We either learn to get along and respect one another and not define each other by negative reference while celebrating our diversity, or we are finished. Or to put it another way around, we really do not have another alternative. Nothing else does not make sense, and nothing else can make us happy. So Europe and Jerusalem is a right place to resend this message and to go and to live along this line. So this would be my opening statement. Thank you very much.